Awesome. Well, hi, everyone. If you don't know me, I'm Chrissy. I blog over at Build a Wellness blog as well as several other sites. So I am excited to be here tonight, hanging out with y'all. Hopefully, maybe you have a glass of wine or your dinner, and this will be a nice, relaxing event for us. But yeah, I really just wanted to kind of chat a little bit about artificial intelligence, which is like slightly cool, slightly scary, and but I think that it can be really useful for people who are doing a lot of writing. So I know in my group I have a lot of dietitian writers in there, but we also have fitness bloggers and lifestyle bloggers and all kinds of different niche topics in there. So I wanted to show you just a demo of the tool that I'm using so you can kind of see what it's like and evaluate whether maybe it would be worth the money for you to potentially use it. I am going to go ahead and drop, sorry, I'm looking for a link here. And I have like 7,000 tabs open right now. Sorry, guys, give me 1 second. I'll put the affiliate link in afterwards so that I'm not wasting our time here. But I do have an affiliate link for it if it might be helpful for you. So let me go ahead and share my screen and I'll jump into kind of demoing everything. All right, cool. Awesome. So I have got that hidden at this point. So you can see my full screen and everybody on the recording will be able to see my full screen. So if you need something, feel free to unmute yourself just because I won't be able to see the chat for a few minutes. So this is the tool that I've been testing out that I really like. I think it is a lot different than some of the other AI tools out there. So what AI is, for those of you that are unfamiliar, it's artificial intelligence, right? So it is like a robot brain, a computer brain, reading things online and synthesizing information based on that. And it's different than, I think a lot of the old forms of AI were just like scrapers, right? So they would like take a blog post and just like slightly change words on that blog post. So, and a lot of times, like if any of you have ever had your blog post stolen and posted on another site, a scraper site, sometimes you see that where it's like the verbiage doesn't even make sense or whatever. So this is a little bit different than that. I wanted to pull up two of the Q&A questions that they specifically answer, which were kind of some of my selling points, at least on why I started to use it, which is the content original? So the answer is yes, it's trained on, parts of the internet, but the outputs are original. And I've been using it for a couple weeks now, and I run everything that I've taken with it through Copyscape, and I haven't had any problems with it. So that's a good sign to me. So that's something that I think is helpful to know. And then the other thing that's helpful is it new copy every time? So one of the things I was worried about is like, what happens if, two people are both writing about like the Mediterranean diet? Is it going to pull the same exact information because you're writing about the same topic? And generally they're saying that it'll almost always generate unique content, especially for longer content. And what you'll see there is that it's taking input that you give it, and that's what it's using to help drive what it's writing about. Kathleen, Copyscape is just a tool that you can use if you like maybe hire freelance writers, or you're using a AI tool like this. You run it through Copyscape, and it's a tool that tells you if that content is present anywhere else on the internet. So when I worked with freelance writers, sometimes when I hire them, I always run things through Copyscape to make sure they haven't just copied and pasted things from elsewhere on the internet. So hopefully that's helpful just to know about. So I want to jump in here to the app itself. And this app has a ton of different frameworks and templates you can use. So this is what it looks like when you log in to your dashboard. So we're going to go over like the long form assistant here today. That's where I'll spend a little bit of time, but there's also all of these other templates like marketing templates. You can do email subject lines. You can use it to figure out questions to ask your audience on social media, help with press releases. So there's all different kinds of templates here. I really like the long form assistant. Obviously, I blog a lot, so that's where I end up spending a lot of the time. So what happens is when you go to this long form assistant, you're going to have to describe the kind of content you want to create. So I'll go through an example here. Just I was looking beforehand at some of the potential topics I had to write about. So write a blog post about what people should eat before doing a long run. And my keyword is going to be what to eat before a long run. And then I just hit continue. And then what it can do here is generate ideas for the title. So you just click that button and it's going to pop up a whole bunch of ideas. So like 7 high performance foods, nutrition and hydration, your best food for an intense long run. So I'll probably use this one, what to eat before, maybe not. I'll use this, but I'm actually going to change it around a little. What to eat before a long run, your best fueling strategies. So I'll use that. And then an intro paragraph. So again, you can have it just generate potential ideas for you. And it takes a couple of seconds here, but it's going to come up with some potential intro paragraphs. So like if you're about to embark on a long run, it's important to take the time before your run to eat something. Eating something will give you more energy and keep your body from getting too hungry. What should you eat? You're probably wondering, it's not as clear cut. There's some things you should consider. And again, you can like keep, if I click this again, it's going to generate more ideas. So like you can keep clicking on this until you find something that you like. Nothing that you put in here is going to be absolutely perfect. But it gives you a really nice starting point for things. Let's see. So I'm just going to use this one for the sake of our example right now. And then we're going to open up our editor. So it's going to take whatever potential intro that I chose and put that there. When you're in this editor, you can format it just like you would in a regular blog post, like in WordPress. So we can take that title that we came up with here and we'll put that up here, and we can format that as our H1, and then we would format our H2 like potential headers, just like we would format it in a regular WordPress blog post. So while you can hit the compose button here, this is where you're starting. You can hit the compose button if you want to start, or you can go ahead and try to structure your headers in here first before you hit that. One of the things on this compose button down here is they have short, medium, and long output. When you're using this program, if you're using it for blog writing, you're going to want to have the unlimited plan, which gives you as many words as you possibly can. And you'll see why, because a lot of times what you'll get won't be perfectly relevant and you'll just want to delete it. And if you're on a starter plan, one, you don't have this long form editor, but two, you're limited on the total words you can use. So if you're going to use something like this, whether it's this program or another, I highly recommend one that has a unlimited plan so that you can get as many words as possible out of it. So we might start here. Let's see. Like, when should you eat before a long run? What are the best foods to eat before a long run? How should you hydrate before a long run? I'll just use those for the sake of example. But if I was, thinking a little bit more in depth about this, I'd probably come up with some better headings. But essentially, you're just going to structure this like you would a long form blog post. So I'm going to structure those as headings. And one thing you can do, there's 2 short form codes that this editor uses. One is this double hashtag, which basically helps the AI system to understand that those are headings. The other thing you can use is if you keep getting in this system a repeating thing. So like Jarvis is the name of the AI. If Jarvis keeps repeating the same kind of content over and over, you can use a 3-star short code, and that's going to tell it not to read anything above that and to just like erase its memory from what it already wrote. So let's say we start with this. So you can click compose right now. We can see what comes up here. A lot of times beforehand, I will start a sentence so that it kind of knows where I want to go with it. So like this is kind of talking about, you know, time, you should eat before a long run, not too early, blah, 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 half an hour beforehand. It's best to have some coffee with breakfast. So I'm going to take this out, and then I might have something like depending on the size of your meal. And then like as a dietitian, I know that this would want to generally be around 1 to 4 hours beforehand. So I'd probably put something like ideally your pre-run meal is 1 to 4 hours before run. And then I would just like click compose again, see what else it comes up with. It's going to give some sample foods now, so I'm probably going to move those down to the next section. So I'm going to take like this information that it gave me and move it down here. And then I would kind of keep feeding it information here. So maybe I'll take this out. Just again, I'm just kind of playing around with it. I don't want to read too much into it right now while we're all on this call, but maybe I'll say something like, if you eat too close to your run, and see what Jarvis comes up with. So yeah, like you may experience stomach problems if you eat too far in advance. You might digest all of it and not have any fuel left over from running. That needs some editing there, but you kind of get the gist of this as far as what it's giving you and how you would use it and then slightly edit as you're working along here. Obviously the specific like facts that it gives you, they're not always accurate. So you want to make sure that whatever you're writing about, you need to have some background on that subject, or you need to be able to research and fact check the kinds of things that come out. So like if I say before a long run, you should drink, let's see what it comes up with. So like you should drink a glass of water to make sure you're not dehydrated, don't have an empty stomach, it can lead to vomiting, you should drink something every 15 to 20 minutes. So like here, like you should drink something every 15 to 20 minutes as this will help keep blood sugar levels stable. Like drinking water, you know, we know doesn't help with blood sugar levels. So that's something that you would obviously want to edit out to be factually correct. But again, you can kind of get an idea of how if you start feeding it the type of information that you want to see, it learns from that, and then it gets better and better at providing that information there. Let's see something in the chat here. Yeah, so Kathleen said, you know, it spit out numbers for nutrients. I wasn't sure it was right. It felt like I had to double check. Yeah, you definitely need to double check everything. Like there's a post that, I'll show you the post that I did today, which was using this program. And so for example, like a lot of this stuff here, let's see, you know what, I was thinking of another one, but I'm trying to find if there's an example of something here. So like this, like if this is me adding, if you're exercising for more than 75 to 90 minutes, it's time to start fueling, like Jarvis spit out incorrect information for what that was, what that time frame was. But as far as getting ideas for this, so like when I started this post about how to not get tired when running, I had like 5 tips in mind. And then as I'm sitting there in the AI system and it's spitting out lots of different ideas, I'm like, okay, cool, this is great. I can expand on this. Oh yeah, I didn't think of this. So it's really a way, I think, to get a lot of ideas for the post that you're working on and to just make some of that content go faster, right? So if you're trying to write these, like this post is 3,500 words. It is a long post. If you're trying to write these really long form content posts to rank well with, with SEO, it definitely takes away, I think, some of that mental fatigue of coming up with all these ideas. And I know it feels weird, right? Like it feels like, oh, I'm cheating, like this is taking other things on the internet and coming up with something. But essentially that's what we do, right? So like as writers, yes, we have some of our own ideas, some of our own critical information, but some of what we do is going into research and pulling out what we synthesize from that research, or maybe searching through some of the other top 10 results on the internet and seeing, okay, what are we missing from our post that they have that we can come up with our own way to add that in. So I know that like some people are kind of super anti-AI because it feels like cheating or copying, but I think what's important to remember about this system is that if you're using it like this in this long form editor, you're not copying somebody else's blog post. You're essentially feeding it prompts to get more ideas that then you can expand upon. So I hope that that's helpful. Julie, I know you asked, so as it is generating content, is it also helping write a blog post to perform well with SEO, number of words, etc.? Yes and no. So you need to make sure that you're choosing the right keyword to put in here. So if you're choosing, I'm trying to think of it, like how to start running, that's probably going to be a pretty difficult keyword for most people to rank for, or like how to clean your house. That's like really broad, right? There's probably a ton of other sites that started writing about that. So you need to make sure that you're choosing a good, decent volume, low competition keyword. So you take that keyword research that you do elsewhere, and then you put, you use those keywords to develop your ideas for these types of articles. Number of words, yes, because the more ideas that you can get from this, the more potential content that you could get to fill up your article there. Can you feed it a journal article and they pull content from it? Yes and no. So if you have a journal article, you can paste the abstract in and have Jarvis rewrite it. So like if we went to PubMed, search this for right now. I was working on a post about whey protein earlier, which is why it's in my mind. So let's see. So like if I took this part of the abstract and threw it in here, and then I highlighted that, and I can click, whoops, sorry, that's the grammar one. So there's something to fix grammar. There's also this rephrase. So if you click rephrase, it'll summarize or rephrase what you just had in there. So, and you can keep clicking that a couple of times. It doesn't always do it correctly, right? So you need to make sure that you're looking at it and making sure that it matches up with what you actually are reading in the journal article. But yeah, you can pull those in there and have it rewrite the content. There's also a template in here called Explain It to a Child, which again, you can use that template if you want to. So this is one like I had put in earlier. You can say the grade level. So like if I wanted like, 10th grade or whatever, I can pull in an abstract from a study and I can have it generate AI content based on that study at a certain level of reading. And again, sometimes it's not always the greatest summary here, but it is helpful if you're trying to think of ways to include those articles. What it's not going to do is like if you put in, I want to research the benefits of pea protein for athletes, it's not going to just naturally in this long form editor pull those research articles. So kind of where I see the value in this for bloggers, especially bloggers within, nutrition, fitness, any of those fields, is getting kind of a skeleton of the content, giving you extra ideas, and then you go ahead and find some of those journal articles that support that content and really help to beef up the article that you then publish on your site. So that's essentially, this is really how that long form editor works. If it puts out a sentence that you're not a fan of, but you like the general idea, again, you can use that rephrase button. And then all you would do is like click that check mark, and that's going to change it. So one of the things that can be really helpful with, I know a lot of bloggers in here, for example, food bloggers, like maybe you have a section in a lot of blog posts that talks about, like maybe you do a ton of mango recipes, right? And so you have a ton of blog posts that talk about how to cut a mango. And can you include the same thing in every blog post? Yes. But maybe you just want to reword it for some of the posts. You could take that paragraph about how to cut a mango, throw it into the long form editor here, and then use that rephrase button to just have it rewrite it. So that can be a really nice little tool that you can use here when you are pulling stuff from older blog posts that maybe you just want to repurpose because it also fits into a new blog post. Similarly, a lot of us are doing Harrow queries, right? So like we're answering journalists when they're asking for questions. And I don't know about you guys, but a lot of times I get very similar, I come across very similar requests like in the sports nutrition realm. So what I could do is I could take, save those old Harrow queries that I responded to, take them, throw them in here, use the rephrase button so that this AI system just rephrases it for me, and then I can go ahead and send it over. So it's kind of a nice way of saving time on certain tasks like that. I also just wanted to show a couple of the other, I was looking for that affiliate link earlier. I'll throw it in here. So if you guys do end up wanting to check that out, you can. There's also these frameworks here that can be really nice if you are trying to develop like Facebook ad copy, or maybe trying to expand on like a marketing idea or something along those lines. So for example, if I wanted to promote like a webinar for runners, and the webinar is going to help distance runners learn to fuel their bodies before, during, and after exercise. That's what I want to put out there. I can try to get AI content for like some quick and easy marketing copy that I might use for like a Facebook ad. Now, one of the cool things about this is you can change the tone of voice. So they give you a whole bunch of examples here. So you can be funny, casual, witty, sarcastic, but you can also put in people. So like you can put in Tony Robbins or Oprah or something along those lines. So like if I want to put in Oprah, if I could spell, that would be helpful. If I want to put in Oprah here, it's probably going to be like pretty positive as far as the way that it writes it, but let's see what it comes up with here. All right, so this is using the attention, interest, desire, action kind of framework. So it's trying to draw your attention. So like this looks pretty good to me. Like, distance runners, are you tired of feeling exhausted and drained after your workouts? You're not alone. Many distance runners struggle, but there's a solution. This will teach you how to feel your body, blah, 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 right? So this kind of gives you a nice, easy framework for some of those Facebook posts or maybe Facebook ads that you're running for your freebies or your webinars or things along those lines. So I think that that's a really fun use here. One of the other things I really like, let's see. Sorry, they added a bunch, so they're not in exactly the same order as they were before. And I'm just trying to find where there's like a email subject lines. Here we go. So this is actually what I used when I sent out this email. If you've got my email newsletter from Build a Wellness blog, this is what I put in, right? So I put in, it's Build a Wellness blog, my tone of voice is fun, and the email is don't miss my free get together about artificial intelligence and blogging. And that's how I got that thing about like, I think it was like this is the coolest and scariest or whatever thing to happen to blogging. Whatever the subject line was for the email that I had sent out about this came from it. And so some of them, they're not gonna be great, like it's my time to shine, meh. But like this one, robots are coming to take over and they're saving us from bad content. That is a really cool subject line. And so you can see how you can get these kind of clicky subject lines here. And I'm really bad at coming up with these. So being able to just type in what the email is about and getting these sample subject lines here, I think is really cool and really helpful. So yeah, those are some of the tools here that I use as far as this particular, hold on, I'm just gonna stop my screen share here. Yeah, that's what I use as far as that particular tool. And again, I really like it because I think that what you can do with it is really impressive when you start playing around. As you could see, all the things that you get in that long form editor are not going to be perfect. It's not a fail safe, like, oh, I just put in what I'm writing about and it spits out 2,000 words, but it does give you, it starts to give you a nice framework for things. And the more that you use it, the more that you learn kind of how to feed it information that's going to help get you what you want. So like if you're pressing the compose button and you're not getting the output you want, just start the sentence, you know, athletes need, how much protein do athletes need? Well, runners need, and then boom, compose, and it'll pull in stuff. Again, numbers may not always be correct. And that's something that, you know, you would want to make sure you fix, but a lot of times it does give you a nice start to all of that content. And then again, the email subject lines and the ad copy and all those things I think are really helpful. But that is kind of just like the short version demo of what I wanted to share with you as far as how it works. But I would love to answer any questions that you guys have about using AI. Hopefully you could see that it does it will kind of makes your time go a lot quicker when you're writing. I think it's going to be really valuable. I know somebody asked in one of the groups, it was asked both in my group and the RDs That Write group, you know, do we think this is bad for the future? And when I started using it, I said to my husband, I'm like, I kind of love it, but I'm kind of afraid for like 5 years down the road when this artificial intelligence just gets like so smart and can pull in peer-reviewed journal articles and everything. I don't think it'll ever get to that point. I don't know. I do think the system's only as powerful as the person using it. So are there people out there that are just, you know, taking an article from the internet, pasting it in the long form editor and just rephrasing every paragraph? Yes. Should you do that? No. But can people that are like super smart, like all of you guys that have such good expertise in your topic areas, can you use AI to make your writing process faster? That's where I think the strength lies for us. But yeah, I would love to answer any questions you have, or like if you want me to, if you have a blog topic in mind, and you want me to pull that in and I can go ahead and run through that with everybody, I'm happy to do that too. I did want to mention, I know somebody asked me beforehand how it is for food posts. So it is not going to write a recipe. So if you want to do a recipe post, you can't use it for the recipe itself. It's just not going to work for that. You need to be able to, you know, create your own recipe. But where it does come in handy is if you are trying to write like the FAQ section of your recipe, maybe. So a lot of us will go into something like Answer the Public and look at the types of questions that people are asking, or go to like Google and see, you know, the people also ask section. Using the long form editor in Jarvis, it can make that go a little bit quicker. So you can type out, you know, your recipe idea and then recipe FAQ, and then feed it like, here are some common questions that come up about shrimp and grits, and then see what it spits out. And a lot of times it's going to spit out common questions. Can you freeze this? Or how do you store this? Or, those kinds of things. So it might just help get that part done a little bit more quickly, get the intro done a little bit more quickly. If you're highlighting certain ingredients, so like if you are writing a post about shrimp and grits and you want to talk a little bit about like, here's the difference between fresh shrimp and frozen shrimp, and what that means as far as nutrition. And frozen shrimp is also high in, usually high in sodium because of the salt brine that it's frozen in, all those kind of things. That is where like you can try to, use the AI to like get some quick content written about those points that you're going to make in the article. But can it write a full recipe? Can it write all the instructions out? No, it can't do that. So if you're exclusively food blogging, probably not going to be as helpful as those of you that are also doing topical posts. I think topic-based posts is really probably where the strength lies for this, as well as the different kind of marketing things. So yeah, what questions do you guys have? What can I answer? Feel free to unmute yourself or ask in the chat. Or you can just let me know if you're like terrified about robots taking over the rest of the world. Everyone's so quiet. Does anybody want me to do a topic they were thinking about writing and run it through? If you have a topic, let me know and I'll go ahead and run it through for you. Holly says, I'm here for it. I also want a Roomba. Yes, I would like a robotic vacuum as well. That would be amazing. I just got a new, I feel like I'm super tech savvy right now because I just got a new running watch and now I'm using AI and I feel like I'm like in the future. I'm not a tech savvy person at all, like despite having a ton of blogs, I am not at all. But yes, I feel very much in the future right now. Would I mind chatting about costs? Yeah, no problem. So cost wise, again, you're going to want the unlimited plan. I know they have a starter plan, but if you're going to be doing blog posts, you want the unlimited plan. You don't want to be sitting there worried about like, oh, if I delete this, I'm using my words. I just don't think it's personally worth it for blogging at that point. So the unlimited plan is $109 a month. I think if you pay for a year up front, it saves you 2 months off of it. So it's a bit of an investment, right? But if it's the way that I look at it is I was paying freelancers a lot of money for content, and some of the content I was getting, I felt like I was having to update and edit a lot. And I feel like if I'm paying a freelancer $200 for one article versus using AI to help me get out a lot more articles more quickly, then to me that cost is really worth it. So $109 a month, I believe right now. And if you pay for the year, you get those 2 months free. They also, so I know Kathleen said, Don said they have good support with some videos. Yeah, so they have a ton of like intro videos you can use that showcase how to do things. They have an extremely active Facebook group. It is pretty amazing. And like, I feel like kind of cult-like everybody's super into Jarvis. But the Facebook group, people are constantly posting like YouTube videos they make about how to use Jarvis for like really cool things that they're doing. I know somebody just posted one the other day. I don't know if any of you ever buy PLR content, but if you buy PLR content, using Jarvis can be a really nice way to rewrite that PLR content, whether you're using it for your blog or whether you're developing an email series, right? That's another thing. I've been focusing mainly on blog content here, but I know for me, one of the things that I really want to get better at this year is like nurturing my email list. And I just feel like I never get around to it. So if I can get a nice outline of what I want to do for an email series, this can help me put it together really quickly. So yeah, people will post a lot of case studies about what they did and how they use Jarvis. And the Facebook group's really active with just the owners are in there and then people sharing things as well. What else? So Julie, no, you don't have to commit to a full year. You can pay monthly, but if you wanted to pay for the year, you get that slight discount. So it is billed every month right now. Yeah. Other questions? I would say if you're like on the fence about it, you know, try it, like buy a month, try it out, see if you like it. Yeah, Michelle, the 3 seats was only when we signed up. So Michelle mentioned you get 3 seats. If you signed up before a certain day, you got 3 seats on it. So like my account, I can have myself and 2 other people on the account and we can split the cost. But they just updated the pricing model after. So unfortunately, you don't have the 3 seats anymore at the current price point. I know it is a bummer. But I think if you're, you know, on the fence about trying it out, it's $100 for a month. Put it down, see how much you use it. If you feel like it's helping, awesome. Like that's part of your business expenses, great. If you feel like, no, this is like not going anywhere, I can't get this to work the way I want, then cancel it after a month and, you know, or try one of the other things. I know right now there's a deal on AppSumo for an AI software. I think it's called, I have the tab open, hold on, Neural Text. So that would be another one, much cheaper as far as like lifetime deal on AppSumo, but I don't think that it long form editor wise works nearly as well as this one does. I know Michelle asks, has anybody else tried any other AI tools? Anyone in here try any other ones that you want to share about? There's some I've tried in the past. I don't remember the names of them, you know, just kind of like I get a ton, obviously, I think somebody else in here mentioned too, like sponsored Facebook ads. It's like once you look at one, you're like, AI all the time in sponsored Facebook ads. So I've like played around, just done free trials of some of the other ones, but it hasn't, I don't think any of them have really compared to at least the functionality, I think, in this one. But if anybody else has tried another one, definitely feel free to drop it in the comments or go ahead and unmute yourself so you can share your experience with it. What do you guys think? Do you think it's cool, or are you like afraid, or do you feel like it's cheating? What are your thoughts? I'm curious to hear. You can share anything. You could be like, Chrissy, you're just stealing information. I mean, you tell it like it is. I'd love to hear what you guys think. Michelle said using it for email is going to be fab. Yeah, I think I am absolutely terrible at email lists. I really should be better. So I think that it's going to be very, very useful for that purpose. Yeah, email, it seems like a lot of people are thinking email newsletters definitely is, you know, where you can save yourself a lot of time if you want to get that set up. And then again, I've been, like I said, that running tips blog post that I have today, and I have another one coming out next week about whey protein, and both of those were built using AI. Now, it still took me, you know, it took me probably 45 to 60 minutes in the AI software, plus about an hour and a half outside of that, maybe a little more, as far as getting the whole post together, and then obviously formatting it in WordPress and adding the images and all that kind of stuff. But it significantly cut down on time compared to, I mean, I'm a relatively slow writer. I'm also somewhat of a perfectionist, so it takes a while to get content the way that I want it to be, particularly for SEO. So yeah, it's one of those things that I think it's not going to make it instantaneous, but it's going to significantly cut down on time. Let's see. Yeah, it's a tool. Exactly. Like Holly said, it's like a carpenter using a power saw. Exactly. And I gave this example to somebody the other day of, you know, we all use spell check when we do stuff on the computer. Just because we're not manually looking things up in a dictionary doesn't take away from our writing because we use spell check. So I think that it's just a way, it's like, you know, essentially it's using a robot brain to synthesize information instead of using our own brain. And Yeah, it's just another tool that we can use. Jeanette said it takes about 10 hours. Yeah, it takes a ton of time, I think, to do long form blog posts. So if you're doing a lot of those, I do think there's a lot of benefits in there. Yeah, so hopefully this was helpful. I see a lot of good comments in the chat. You've got my affiliate link in there, or if you missed that, just shoot me an email or post in my Facebook group or whatever. I'm more than happy to give you that affiliate link or just answer any more questions that you have if other questions come up. But thank you so much for joining me. And yeah, I hope it was helpful. I'll see you later, guys.